We also welcome the students and the staff. Great Nigerian students, you are most welcome. I want to introduce also the organizer of the manager of this conference, who takes it up from here. Dr. Adora of the Department of Computer Sciences, University of Nigeria.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning, everyone. Protocols duly observed. You're welcome, our special dignitaries, to this second national fest. I welcome you all, and I want us to start. We'll say the national anthem. So the first program, what we have on the program is an opening address by the General Chair of the conference. It's okay. It's online, so this is online, so then the opening remark, then the conference starts. This can we spotlight
great
Professor Kennedy Okafor?
Okay.
You're welcome, Prof.
Right. Thank you so much. Can you hear me, please?
Yes, Prof, we can hear you.
Fantastic. I probably want to stand on the existing protocol because our time is fast spent. Just to go straight to the welcome message. So it's a great pleasure that we welcome you to the second International Conference on Arts, Health Sciences, Artificial Intelligence, and Sustainable Systems. This is a premier conference.
Right. Thank you so much.
Hosted by the Federal University of Allied Health Sciences in Nigeria in collaboration with IEEE, Skill Up Hub, Region 8, Center for Future Technologies, University of Chichester, UK, the University of Johannesburg in South Africa. The Ahiaise 2026 brings together scholars, researchers, health professionals, engineers, technologists, policymakers, industry leaders, and innovators from around the world to exchange knowledge, foster collaboration, and showcase transformative research addressing contemporary challenges across the arts, health sciences, artificial intelligence, engineering, and sustainable systems. You see, as society navigate increasingly complex challenges involving health transformation, climate change, digital innovation, intelligent systems, and sustainable development, there's need for interdisciplinary and evidence-based solutions that will address some of these problems. Ahiaise 2026 provide that unique opportunity, that platform for presenting cutting-edge research, sharing innovative ideas, establishing strategic partnerships, exploring emerging technologies that contribute to a more sustainable, inclusive, resilient, and intelligent future. This year, which is the second year this conference is spanning, this conference features keynote presentations by international renowned experts, technical paper sections, panel discussions, technology demonstrations, industry exhibitions, STEM initiative and postgraduate research presentation, as well as networking opportunities and conference awards ceremony. Delegates will engage with pioneering developments across a broad range of disciplines, including AI, machine learning, digital health, biomedical engineering, sustainable engineering, energy systems, intelligent transports, advanced materials, environmental sustainability, and then smart manufacturing, creative technology, industry 4.0, etc. See, we are honored to welcome an outstanding panel of internationally recognized speakers from leading universities, research institutes, industry and government organizations across the United Kingdom, South Africa, um, Taiwan, the Czech Republic, Nigeria, United States, all represented in this conference. Now, their expertise and thought leadership will provide these valuable insights into emerging global trends, research excellence, technological innovations, and sustainable development. We extend our sincere appreciation to the LOC, the Local Organizing Committee, the TCP, the Technical Program Chair Committee, the IEEE Skill Up Hub Region 8, UK, our collaborating institutions, partners, sponsors, reviewers, authors, exhibitors, volunteers, delegates, whose commitments and support have made IS 2026 a big success. I think your dedication to advancing interdisciplinary research and international collaboration continues to strengthen our global and scientific community. As we gather today in Enugu State, a vibrant center of academic excellence, as we all know, cultural heritage and innovation in the southern part of Nigeria, we celebrate the diversity of idea and culture, perspective that inspires scientific discovery, stimulates and transformative and societal transformation. We are very confident that your participation in Ahiaise 2026 will be intellectually engaging, stimulating, professionally rewarding, and of course, memorable. And on behalf of the LOC, we warmly welcome you all to Ahiaise 2026 and wish you a productive conference filled with insightful discussions, meaningful collaborations, innovative discoveries, and lasting professional connections. So thank you very much, and I welcome us to a fruitful deliberation ahead. Thank you so much. Thank you. Yeah, back to you, MC.
The program is just right, and that will be taken by Professor Andrew Harun.
that I am here. And we asked him this week, how does the silence it comes in the text, but I will see it when I get there. There was a time there was a serious war in the United States, in the UK, and the government could not move. Neither were buses and cars. Everything was grounded. So the government was shocked that they were taking otherwise. Immediately that year, the government created an office and appointed minister for snow and invited all the climatologists to come and study what had happened with the weather, that Britain would just be grounded. So a minister of snow was appointed. But then in the same year, there was serious drought in an African country, Kenya. And then what happened? The president of Kenya called all the pastors and the imams and said, let's go to the places of worship and pray. I hope you get the message. Here is a scientific issue, an issue to be taken care of. A solution is being sought. And now in another side of the world, they are calling for prayers. You know? And prayer, I think, is a critical thing in Nigeria. Anything, let us pray. Nothing, let us pray. But I don't think I have ever seen any country that developed through prayer and fasting. Have you ever seen one? Yes, with all the most churches in Nigeria, we wouldn't be facing one like this. So we need to look at the context in which we are operating our scientific exercise. I will go through the text. The history of medicine is inseparable from the history of human civilization. Healing was not merely understood as a scientific or biological process, but as a deeply spiritual, cultural, emotional, and communal experience. Before the rise of modern hospitals, laboratories, and pharmaceutical systems, communities across Africa, Asia, Europe, and the Middle East relied on integrated systems of healing that combine herbal medicine, spirituality, ritual practices, oral tradition, music, storytelling, and communal support systems. It is so because traditional medicine was within cultural and spiritual practice that recognize the interconnected link between the physical body, the human spirit, nature, and society. And healing was administered by traditional healers. Herbalists, diviners, spiritual leaders, midwives, and community elders who combine clinical knowledge of herbs and natural remedies with religious beliefs
prayers, rituals, and psychological practices. I hope I'm not too fast because I'm speaking online and I speak with the strong Nigerian. So I hope those who are online follow my pronunciation and the speed at which I talk. But I will try to speak slowly. Next slide, please. The Nigerian society offers important examples of this situation. Among people, for example, health is traditionally understood within the concept of harmony. Concept of harmony between the individual, the community, nature, and spiritual world. What is Chinese death and the king's fourth man? Delve even deeper into the sacred dimension of health, exploring the spiritual side of the king's man as a necessary act to maintain the spiritual and physical health of the community. Shoyinka's depiction of this ritual underscores the belief that health is not just a personal thing, but a communal responsibility intimately tied to the spiritual obligations. When I read other examples, what I mean, the Igbo worldview similarly recognizes the role of spirituality in illness and healing. Chinua Achebe's spiritual apart vividly portrays the tension between traditional Igbo health systems and the imposition of Western medicine by colonial forces. Achebe writes, the white man is very clever. He has put a knife to the things that help us together and we have fallen apart. Reflecting how the destruction of traditional practices threaten the sacred balance of the community's health and well-being. In the House of Conference of last year, it extends also to physical well-being, including stability and communal well-being. These traditional understandings reveal that medicine in Africa is historically functioned as both scientific and humanistic enterprise. Despite this, colonial education and modern disciplinary structures gradually separated medicine from spirituality, language, and the art. As a result, many universities today continue to train medical professionals almost exclusively by a medical framework, while often neglecting the cultural reality that healthcare patterns among the local population. Yet, public health crisis repeatedly demonstrates that scientific knowledge alone is insufficient without cultural understanding, spirituality, and human connection. Ignoring these traditional beliefs, articles, and practices can only lead to lack of understanding of the people's behavior and problems. That's why the World Health Organization considers traditional medicine to continue to play a significant role in healthcare delivery across Africa, particularly in rural communities where modern medical infrastructure remains limited. For example, in many communities, traditional healing systems recognize that illness demands physical, emotional, spiritual, environmental, or social causes. Consequently, treatment approaches were holistic rather than narrowly clinical. This holistic orientation remains relevant even in the contemporary African societies. As a result, modern medicine increasingly acknowledges the importance of mental health, emotional well-being, patient psychology, spirituality, and social support system recovery process. For that reason, the challenge before the Nigerian universities today is not whether traditional and modern systems should compete, but how to responsibly integrate indigenous knowledge systems into research, healthcare, communication, and public healthcare education. Medicine, spirituality in the African society. Health is defined in the African continent as it is elsewhere along multidimensional axis. Health is not a static concept. For that reason, it is virtually impossible to define health and well-being within a comprehensive united framework, given the wide range of cultures and belief systems. John Beatty's book, African Religions and Philosophy, portrays how spirituality, beliefs, rituals, and moral frameworks shape community life across Africa. Drawing on diverse traditions, they examine concepts such as time, God, and kinship, showing religion to be inseparable from daily existence and identity. Beatty describes this vividly, and this is what he said. Where the African is, there is his religion. He carries it to the fields where he is sowing seeds or harvesting a new crop. He takes it with him to the beer parties or attend the program ceremony. And if he is educated, he takes religion with him to the examination room or school or in the university. If he is a politician, he takes it into the House of Parliament. True or false? True or false? Thank you. Service utters everything good will come. Also explore the sacredness of health in the context of modern challenges. The author reflects on the struggle for women's autonomy over their bodies and health. Writing, she said, what is the use of a woman's life if she can't choose how to live it? This is a powerful assertion of the sanctity of personal health and freedom. Also in Ghana found that older adults' perceptions of health and well-being were intricately connected to their belief in the transcendent. Those whose relationship with the divine was strong exhibited optimism and faith that health could improve. The study found that spiritual belief systems were positively associated with emotional regulation, cognitive well-being, and major life events such as retirement and bereavement. In summary, a society shapes its understanding of health and illness and the practice of medicine. Health shapes a society's perceptions of what it means to be healthy. The people's population health and healing. All over Nigerian communities today, testimonies of healing frequently shared in churches, mosques, the vital grounds to state and traditional government. Many legal professionals have observed situations where patients publicly administer special surgery and treatment primarily defined as divine intervention. I think you have got patients who were or who went into your clinic before you start the operation. You must have had many bubbling prayers. Isn't it? For God's intervention, you are the expert. You have been trained. You should believe whatever you do. But at the same time, because of the deep spirituality we have towards God, still prayers are offered. Crusade grounds and prayer grounds. Today I filled out with testimonies of how people went for prayer. They have been in hospital. They have been expert. But they are really a gospel supernatural ability. You have seen it on many television broadcasts. Hospitals witness situations where medical procedures are ultimately attributed by patients to the power of God, prayer, or faith. Important as it may be, this reality does not diminish the importance of medical excellence. Rather, it reveals that even within many African societies, it's understood as involving both science and spirituality. You know, one interesting experience I have had while traveling. When I'm traveling in America, Europe, traveling to Africa is going for spiritual. Okay? People just hop on the plane and they leave. They hop on the car and they leave. But then go to the water park, go to the airport. Before you go to the plane, the amount of prayer being offered, the buses also the prayer being offered. And honestly speaking, because of the environment in which we come from, we need prayers to survive. We need some level of spirituality. Last year I was traveling between Benin and Sapele, a distance of not more than 2 meters. Which by the Lord, cried out persistently to Jesus for healing, despite public attempts to silence him. According to the scripture, Jesus declared, go your way, your faith has made you well. Did he go into the clinic? No. By the pronouncement of Jesus, he was healed. Similarly, the story of the woman with the blood. For many years she was spreading blood, but she said, if I touch the hem of the garment, I will be healed. And when she touched the hem of the garment of Jesus, Jesus said, power has been taken out of you. And he said, daughter, your faith has made you well. Go in peace and be healed of your ability. Next slide. In the Quranic narrative, in Islam, the sacrament of health is often emphasized that the physical well-being, spiritual purity, and moral conduct. The Holy Quran says, it is who made us came for you, so walk among its laws and ease of its provision, and to him is the resurrection. This verse highlights the importance of living in harmony with the earth and the body as part of one's spiritual duties. The hadith also further reinforces there are two blessings which many people lose. There are health and free time for doing good. This underscores that health is a divine blessing that must be preserved and utilized righteously. And this example reveals how healing narratives historically combine physical restoration with psychological reassurance, spiritual confidence, and emotional renewal. While science explains the medical process, spirituality often provides patients with hope, courage, emotional resilience, and psychological stability necessary for recovery. Modern healthcare systems therefore recognize the importance of person-centric healthcare communication in different religious societies like ours. Next. I have given examples also in theater, literature, arts, drama, and medical communication, where music, folk song, and storytelling all reveal how you communicate to the community, how science, culture, and community's way of life actually brings solutions, not only the technical or the scientific laboratory treatment. This is what I have discussed in this section. Next. Also, I went into literature. I wrote many things in the literature where I. Hello? 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 Okay. I think for the sake of those who are online, I need the mic. But those of you who are digital, I have the teacher's voice. Hello. Thank you very much. So I went into the literature and provided a listening of examples where also there is a need in the literature to communicate to the community about the modern science. Next. Move on. The power of theater and performing arts. Remember when AIDS, Ebola, came, you have to communicate to the people through what? Through theater, drama, arts. If not so, they will need to understand what we are talking about. It will be the dialogue of the dead. Next. Language, culture, and public health. Here I summarize the fact that if you are not able to bring this knowledge into the local languages, you cannot even practice what you do. Now, most of the time, they are the common languages, which we call the language of the head, not the language of the heart. And as long as we don't communicate to people with the language of the heart, they may not get what you are doing. Take for example, my office in this example. Now, how many of us can dream dreams in our language? How many of us can dream dreams in our language? How many of us can effectively communicate with God through prayer and worship in our language? But using the second language is difficult. So, all the
I don't like the bag.
It's not what the people have as the language of the heart. Next. Poetry, music, oral tradition, and vaccination. This is basically what I have said. Next. AI and the arts. Human-centeredness. Let me read. The other component between the arts, medicine, and science is artificial intelligence and the arts. Yet, instead of referring to AI that generates arts, interestingly as that may be, we focus on the arts that humanize AI. Design thinking literary empathy, cultural knowledge, creative ethics. These are not supposed to be ornamental additions to technology. They are fundamental structural requirements. A mechatronics engineer who has studied narrative and human experience is more likely to design a prosthetic limb differently, one that does not just restore function, but restores dignity. I think this will do a lot of restorative medicine here. So people need to understand that to be able to connect. So next. Allied health and intelligence systems. Democratizing access. One more complex and perhaps the most starting for Nigeria is between allied health and intelligence.
Hey, Madam Kamamoni, how you doing? How was your night? Thank God, well done, man. You said?
Communities that need it. Most relate back.
The hall is okay tomorrow now.
Are continuing to grow, but the products, robotic and AI will not have to support it.
It's okay when you come in the morning now. You can do it. The key is always there.
Like every word, every village, every rural center, remote diagnostic tools, AI, support for mid-level health workers, drug delivery of essential medicine.
It's okay. You can. They spend. They help me write your account number. It's okay.
Sustainable system.
See pen there.
Well, here I try to connect that everything we do, you need to go through the SDG, the 17 SDG goal, so that everything will be multidisciplinary. The SDG goals are listed. I don't need to bother with that. I will see why that. Next. 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 The role of Nigerian languages is public health. I have already alluded to that. I don't need to repeat this. Next. Next. The role of the arts in mental health. I talk about drama and the writing. Next. Imperative for Nigeria as a global hub. The need for us to collaborate. The arts, the science, medicine, and the culture, and communication system of the society. Next. Now, justifications for multidisciplinary approach to healthcare. Health and disease should not be written only in the medical language. They are historical concepts and express a political language. Health is determined by the variables such as nutrition, housing, education, water, sanitation, income, environment, labor, transportation, labor, freedom, and access to health services. Next. Equally, there is justification for multidisciplinary approach to healthcare. I have already said this. Let me go to conclusion. Make a conclusion and let's decide. Next. Go to conclusion.
Zoom meeting, I meet that one in. I have my mark. Bye.
Oh yeah, no, the point. Okay. Love you too. Bye. That is it. Hello, we are shaking my standing from me.
Yeah, what did he say?
See me coming that he might even come now. Then. Yeah,
You said?
yeah, I want to deal with you that you still come.
Thank you.
Share some of this experience so that as from medical professions, for our professionals, as we practice, don't discount the knowledge on the ground. On this note, I want to thank you once more for the opportunity given to me. Thank you.
Please, can we give him a better round of applause? Please, I would like us to know who has spoken to us. Let us know a little about who has spoken to us. So I want to give a brief profile of Professor Andrew Haruna. Please let's all listen. From Andrew Haruna is a highly distinguished academic administrator and a renowned professor of linguistics and Nigerian language. He serves as the Secretary General of the Committee of Vice Chancellors of Nigerian University, the central coordinating body for the leadership of Nigeria's federal state and private universities. Prior to his leadership at the CBCNU, Professor Haruna built an exceptional legacy in university governance, serving as a substantive second vice chancellor of the Federal University of Nigeria in Yobe State from 2016 to 2021, where he is the accolade of the best performing vice chancellor among newly established federal institutions. He has additionally provided high-level scientific guidance across the tertiary education sector as the co-chancellor and chairman of the governing council of Brigham University, Paris. His academic foundations are anchored in a deep exercise in general linguistics, genetics, and the preservation of indigenous languages, with a particular focus on challenging language families of northern Nigeria. Wow, let's start from here. Professor Haruna began his scholarly trajectory at the University of Maiduguri, where he graduated with a Bachelor of Arts in Linguistics in 1981, before joining the institution as a graduate assistant. He subsequently secured a university fellowship in the United Kingdom, obtaining both his Master's of Arts and a PhD in Philosophy from the School of Oriental and African Studies, University of London. Please let's clap for him. The exceptional doctoral thesis on the phenotypic structures of Hausa language and the prestigious University of London Lawrence Commerce Prize. Another clap, please. Returning to Nigeria, he rose steadily through the academic ranks, become a full professor of linguistics and Nigerian languages in 2006. Later leading the departments at both the University of Maiduguri and the University of Jos. An esteemed voice in the humanities, Professor Haruna is a fellow and president of the Nigerian Academy of Letters and a fellow of the Linguistics Association of Nigeria. Alongside his expertise portfolio, which includes receiving the Kwame Nkrumah Leadership Award as an outstanding plenipotentiary. Within his current role at the CBCNU, Professor Haruna spearheads critical advocacy, campaigns focused on university autonomy, technology-driven campus infrastructure, sustainable funding model, and international institutional partnerships position Nigerian higher education for global competitiveness. Please let us give Professor Haruna another resounding round of applause. Okay. I want to call on Dr. Ahiaise to introduce our Vice Chancellor for his opening remarks.
All right. Thank you very much. I want to thank everyone of us who have been around, and want to welcome the Vice Chancellor, Professor John Imaimo. He is the Vice Chancellor of the Federal University of Allied Sciences. In case you do not know, this is a man that does not take no for an answer. And if I were you, I would stand up as he's coming to the podium. He is the pioneer Vice Chancellor of the university. I can also call him a go-getter. And we want to welcome him. You can sit down, you can sit down. He has done so much for us here, and we welcome him in a most special way for his. I also know that if you know this man very well, you will know that if you come and tell him no, he does not take no for an answer. What he wants is yes, and how to move forward. And because of that principle, we have moved from monotechnic to polytechnic and now to a federal university. Because he does not believe in backwardness, he believes in forward. And that's why we are here today, because of his generous support, because of his anything that is good to give a hand to him. And I want to welcome him on behalf of the university to give us welcome address. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Dr. Ahiaise. It is my pleasure to be here today, give you a welcome address. In as much as I'm quite excited to stand on already established protocol, I will crave your indulgence to allow me to make mention of two special individuals that have graced our occasion today. First, I want to thank Dr. Ahiaise, who is the head Center for Future Technologies, University of Chester in United Kingdom, who has paid and put aside all his activities to be here in person. Can you please stand up for me? I also want to especially recognize Professor Haruna, who just spoke, despite the fact that he was properly introduced and his citation was read. I want to tell you that Dr. Haruna, from what you have heard, is a professor of professors and currently Vice Chancellor of Vice Chancellor. Professor Haruna, you are most welcome. Thank you so much. Some of us have been following him for quite a while, both in Nigeria and outside the country, looking at some footsteps to match and be able to transform things the way he did. He is a great administrator and a great analyst. Thank you so much. I want to go straight to my welcome speech. It gives me great pleasure and honor to warmly welcome you first to the Federal University of Allied Sciences in Uganda, and second to the second International Conference on Arts, Health Science, Artificial Intelligence, and Sustainable Systems, Ahiaise 2026. Twice, he is delighted to host this international gathering of scholars, researchers, healthcare
I'm not hearing anything. Please, is the meeting still on? It's only me. Hello?
to see the fruits of bridge operations in Nigeria, and we are still at the funded level of training of students. I think we can clap for ourselves. This event is guided by our vision of excellence in education, research, and community service. We actually continue to promote in research, evidence-based healthcare solutions, innovation that improve the quality of life of individuals and communities. Objectives of Ahiaise 2026 strongly aligned with our institutional vision, and that is why we are digging into it. Convergence of health sciences, artificial intelligence, sustainable systems, creative innovation, and emerging technologies represent a significant opportunity to address complex healthcare and societal challenges. They bring together diverse disciplines and perspectives. This conference provides a valuable platform for knowledge exchange, research collaboration, and development of solutions that positively impact humanity. Me to actually say one or two words about the use of AI. AI has not come to replace humans, and AI is never a threat. Like there are more speakers in the world. AI has not come to replace. AI has not come to replace human. AI is not a threat, right? Data is administration level. Rather, AI is a solution just like Dr. Aaron said. We need to understand the fact that not incorporating AI into our trainings is just like training manpower that will not be useful in the future. I don't see the near future where you ask an accountant to sit down and raise their fingers to calculate 2 plus 6 plus 5 plus 9. So it will never come to existence. Area will generalize and then institutionalize and then put ourselves into the workings of AI legitimately be better for us. I share a little story with you, an experience we had a training for all vice chancellors, provosts, and rectors in Abuja. The issue of use of AI also emerged. There were a lot of arguments on why AI should be limited, why AI should even be planned, and so forth. At the end of the deliberation, I found out that I had a different idea, which may not sell. which I felt to be confronted by the meeting. So I decided to keep quiet and listen until the last aspect of the discussion. When we got to the last aspect of the discussion, questions were asked. A lot of people were pounding table. You could see some senior colleagues telling you how their thesis can never be compared to what you are doing today. And see a lot of senior colleagues telling you how their academic profile, their achievements cannot be compared to what is being done today. How the work of today is shadow, work of today is done by machine, and so on and so forth. But the question I asked at the end, what you did in 2020, 1980, 1990, are we expecting it to be the same, the work of 2015? Are we here trying to tell the whole world that those who are still better than those who train? And what is the sustainability of this knowledge in the future? If you can't train those who are better than you are not worth to be a trainer. If those you train are still below you, it means you are not a trainer. So I believe shutting out AI in all these transactions, academic transactions, is like closing the future. Because in some time to come, there will be nobody requesting for a manual worker, manual thinker, and so on. So all we need to key in and forget our excellence. The excellence of yesterday and excellence of today has kind of a small limitation, but we need to bridge that and then be better what we have today. So, as I welcome all participants from different parts of the world, I've said, we celebrate the power of collaboration today because this conference here shows the strength and shows the power of collaboration, diversity of ideas, and our shared commitment to advancing science, technology, and sustainable development. I sincerely encourage all delegates to engage actively in discussions, establish meaningful partnerships, and explore opportunities for future collaboration beyond this conference. So what I'm trying to say is that as the Vice Chancellor, I want to see again on this conference. I want to see what this conference brings to the table in the next 1 month in the university. So don't just sit here, listen to paper presentation and clap and walk away. We have certain processes that we in place to also test what we have done and what we have gained here. So please be very much attentive and be very peacefully and mentally present in the course of this conference. So I sincerely appreciate the efforts of the organizing committee, our institutional partners, sponsors, keynote speakers, researchers, presenters, and all other participants whose dedication and contributions have made this conference possible. On behalf of the Federal University of Allied Health Sciences, Enugu, I warmly welcome you once again to Ahiaise 2026 and wish you all successful and rewarding conference experience, filled with inspiring ideas, impactful collaboration, and opportunities for advancing healthcare technology and sustainable systems in the world over. Thank you and welcome to Ahiaise. Welcome to us. On this note, I declare this conference open. Thank you.
Another round of applause for Vice Chancellor. Without singing the national anthem, let's all right. So, just for closing. Professor wants to be. Please maybe rise while we so that we can continue with the program. Let us rise as Vice Chancellor leads. Okay, please let's be seated. We are moving immediately to the plenary session. Please let's be seated. There is a little modification in the program, so we'll start immediately with the plenary session. Please let's be seated. I want to call on our keynote speakers, and the first that will speak to us is Professor Obas John Ebogi. Please, I think he's online. Could we spotlight him? Professor Obas John Ebogi. Please let us.
Yes, I can hear you. Should I continue?
Before we start, I would like to read his profile. Could we spotlight him? Okay, you're welcome, Prof.
Thank you. Right. Should I begin?
Okay, I would like to read your profile, Prof. Professor Obas John Ebogi is the inaugural Dean of the Academy of Sustainable Futures at Canterbury Christ Church University in Canterbury, Kent, United Kingdom. An internationally recognized academic leader and scholar in sustainable development, environmental law, and built environment strategies. He also serves as the editor-in-chief of the multidisciplinary Journal of Architectural Engineering Technology. He holds a diverse and prestigious array of qualifications, including a Bachelor of Arts, a Master's of Arts, and a PhD and an LLM in environmental law, and is recognized as a Fellow of the Royal Society of Arts and a member of the Energy Institute. Before his tenure at Canterbury Christ Church University, Prof. Ebogi built an extensive academic footprint, notably serving as Professor of Sustainability and Environmental Law, Director of the Center for Integrated Delivery of the Built Environment, and the Director of Internationalization and Recruitment at London South Bank University. Please let's clap for him, please. Prior to that, he was a leader in energy, sustainability, and development at the Mount University in Leicester, where he directed the Development World Built Environment Research Unit. As a prolific researcher, Prof. Ebogi has directed and managed numerous local and international multidisciplinary collaborations, successfully supervised more than 20 PhD candidates. Please let's clap for him. It's not easy. Into impactful career within the built environment sector. His primary research interests focused deeply on energy sustainability, urban infrastructure delivery strategy, microeconomic development, construction multinationals, and circular economic integration within structural engineering. His exceptional expertise is frequently sought after by global administrative bodies. He currently serves as the UN Habitat International Advisory Body for the biannual World to Report. and is the chairman of the International Body of Trustees for Green Hub Africa. Committed to grassroots transformation, he has lent his expertise as a sustainability expert group member for the Citizens Assembly on the climate change across multiple London metropolitan authorities, including the Lambert Council. Throughout his highly distinguished career, Professor Ebomo has established extensively in peer review journals, served on international scientific committee, and continues to provide vital consultancy services to bilateral, multilateral, and third sector organizations worldwide. Please let's give them a round of applause. Let's spotlight Professor Ebomo. You're welcome, Prof.
Thank you very much for that introduction. My speech is general because when I was given this topic, I looked at it from integrating art and science from national economic development. So it's very broad-based. So chairman of this occasion, distinguished members of the high table, vice chancellors, deans present, colleagues from the science and humanities, esteemed delegates, ladies and gentlemen, good morning, and thank you for the honor of standing before you to open or to give this important conference paper. I tailored this speech towards Nigeria because that was my understanding of the topic when I was made to discuss it. So let me begin with a paradox, because Nigeria is a nation built on paradox. And the discussion applies to all other sub-Saharan African countries, as well as, countries that are other underdeveloped or middle income. Nigeria is Africa's most populous country, is blessed with over 220 million people of extraordinary talent, and sitting on reserves of gold, oil, and solid minerals that nations will envy. We have universities, teaching hospitals, and a diaspora scattered across the continent, excelling in medicine, engineering, and the arts. And yet, by the plain evidence of our own scholarship, our life expectancy hovers around 55. Our health infrastructure has, in places, been degraded by decades of neglect. Our economy has been struck by a cycle of debt, structural adjustment, and attendant crises it did not create. And security in form of militancy, banditry, kidnapping, and extremism has become, in the words of one commentator, the only word on the lips of every Nigerian. This is the paradox we have gathered here to confront, I believe, in this conference. A nation that is rich in resources and talent, yet poor in the systems that will allow those resources and that talent to flourish. And I want to suggest to you this morning that the paradox will not be solved by science alone, nor by arts alone, but only by deliberate, disciplined integration of both knowledge and both disciplines. If you talk to scholars all over the world that have examined the conditions, largely agree on the anatomy of the problem, even if they disagree on the prescription. Nigeria's economic difficulty traces back, in no small part, to the structural adjustment programs of the 80s and successive waves of neoliberal reform that prioritize deregulation and privatization over welfare waves of citizens. Reforms whose social cost we are still paying. Onto this economic fragility has been grafted a security crisis with many faces: porous border, arms proliferation, bunkering, and all other issues. And beneath all of this lies a still more fundamental deficit a crisis of governance, of trust between citizens and state, and of the institution that ought to translate national wealth into national well-being. These, in my view, are not separate crises. They are one crisis wearing different masks. Insecurity depresses investment, depressed investment deepens poverty, poverty fuels desperation, that insurgency and criminality feed on. And through all of it runs a common thread that this conference must take seriously. When a nation is insecure, its health systems are among the first casualties. Clinics are abandoned in conflict zones, health workers fleeing violence, the environment itself poisoned by gas flaring, oil spillage, and industrial waste in the very communities least equipped to bear that burden. Now, before I turn to the case for integrating discipline to confront these common development challenges, permit me a brief detour into our planning history. Because whether you talk about technology, or arts, without an effective planning and strategy, they would not work. We have seen this happen across, geographical jurisdiction all over the world, because it is instructive and because I do not believe we have fully learned from the lessons of the past. Let me take you just briefly through kind of past history. In 1960, at the very dawn of our independence, the World Bank seconded a development economist called Stopper to head Nigeria's economic planning unit, tasked with designing our first national development plan. He distilled his experience into a landmark study, which I will encourage everybody to read, Planning Without Facts, whether it is health, whether it's technological industrialization, etc., etc. Planning Without Facts, lessons in resource allocation from Nigerian development. The central finding should trouble us today. Nigeria's founding development plan was drawn up in near total absence of a reliable statistical data culture. There was no robust base of facts on output, income, employment, or need on which planners could confidently ground their decisions. Development, as he found, became a matter of optimizing and adjusting as one went along, applying sound theoretical judgment to fill the gaps, that missing data left behind. And the reason is obvious, because colonial administration were looking at revenue purposes and not for macroeconomic planning. So there was no integrity to the statistical base. The essence of this point was to forewarn about the importance of planning with facts, so that development in practice present opportunity for effectively managing the economy. Now, 60 years on, let us ask ourselves honestly, have we closed that gap? How many of us, how many of our health interventions are still designed on the basis of incomplete disease burden data? How many of our environmental and energy policies are set without adequate baseline measurement of pollution, emissions, or ecological stress? How much of our security responses is still, in effect, planning without facts, reacting to crises we did not see coming because we are not measuring the conditions that produce them? So this warning matters to this conference for a precise reason. Facts and data are the domain of science and statistics, but deciding what to measure, how to interpret what the numbers mean for real communities, and how to act wisely with the data remains incomplete. It's inescapably a human and interpretive task. That is the domain of the arts and social sciences. In other words, the unintentional argument is that integration is what this conference is all about. Integrating both science and humanities working together, I believe, is the essence of this conference and the issue that we should take on board. and that guides resource allocation in national social economic development. This alone cannot be left to scientists nor social analysts, but both working, side by side. Now, let me press this point further because it is not merely historical. I want to ask this gathering a direct question. Has Nigeria overcome the politicization of population census and actually carrying one out? We looked at 1952, 62, 73, and almost every one of these censuses contested, disputed, or outright cancelled. Only the 1991 and 2006 exercises were formally accepted. And the 2006 exercise, which recorded 104.4 million Nigerians, remain to this day our last. This means Nigeria is now approaching 2 decades without a national head count. This owes to political sensitivity, since population figures in Nigeria determine constituency boundaries, legislative representation, and the very formula by which federal revenue is shared among states. And so today, as we sit in this hall, no one, not the government, not the conference, not the planner in our ministry actually knows with certainty how many Nigerians there are. What we have instead are projections, extrapolation upward from 2006 baseline by statisticians at the United Nations, the World Bank, and other multilateral bodies that use assumed growth rates. Depending on whose model you consult, Nigerian population today is somewhere between 220 and 250 million people. That is not a fact. That is an estimate of a fact built on an 18-year-old, fact. The question is how a country can rationally plan health facilities, immunization campaigns, school places, food security, or energy demand around a population figure nobody can actually verify. So Stoplar's warning of planning without facts was about a young nation lacking the statistical infrastructure to gather its own data. 6 decades later, the deeper indictment is that we frequently possess the infrastructure and technical capacity to conduct effective census and still choose not to. As earlier indicated, the reasons are political. For effective population census is important if we need to go on. So it is not just art and science. Once again, in necessary partnership, that is precisely why this problem belongs to this conference and precisely why it cannot be resolved by science or arts alone. Depoliticizing census and bringing everybody together is critical. Now, the emphasis on art and science working together to solve developmental problems is critical. If we look at the problems that are enumerated across Africa and across the world, then it is tempting, to seek technical solutions only. All right? Better vaccines, smarter grids, more resilient hospital infrastructure, cleaner energy. And so we need all of these. These are important. But technology transfer or exchange in a society without trust, without cultural legitimacy, without an understanding of the human beings it is meant to serve, does not take hold. We have watched well-designed policy fail in Nigeria, across Africa, for want of technical merit. Not for want of technical merit, but for want of the human, cultural, and institutional scaffolding that is necessary to carry them along. This is where art, history, philosophy, cultural studies, communication, governance, the humanities broadly conceived are not just an appendage to development, but it's a precondition. It is the humanities that help us to understand why a community distrusts a health intervention, why an ethnic or religious grievances spread into militancy, why corruption persists even where laws exist to punish it, why a government authority is accepted in one region and resisted in another. It is science and engineering that will give us the tools, the green technologies, renewable energy systems, the sustainable construction materials, the biomedical innovation, but it is the art and social sciences that give those tools a pathway into the lived reality of Nigerian communities. So put simply, science builds the system, the arts make the system trusted, adopted, and sustained. National development requires both hands on the wheel. So I now turn to sustainable and green health system. As a case in point, now in this integration, there's nowhere it's much more urgent than in health. A green and sustainable health system is not merely a hospital with solar panel, though that matters. It is a system designed with ecological reality of its environment in mind, powered by renewable energy, where the national grid cannot reach, built from sustainable, locally sourced material, resilient to the environmental degradation, gas flaring, industrial pollution, that our own researchers have documented as public health hazards in the Niger Delta and beyond, and critically designed in partnership with community itself, so that trust, uptake, and cultural faith are built in from the start and not bottled on afterwards. So I've heard people talking about AI, people talking about exotic technology, thermonuclear dynamics we studied in our university. The criticality of adopting that to our social economic development. Rome was not built in a day. So anchoring Stopla's sustainable green health system should be a system built on facts we have actually gathered, reliable local data on disease burden, environmental exposure, energy access, and interpreted through an understanding of the communities that data describes, not communities abroad. The point here is that a green health facility sited and resourced on guesswork will fail exactly as our earlier development plans failed. Not for lack of good intentions, but for lack of the evidence-based and the human judgment to allocate resources where they are truly needed. So this is precisely the kind of interdisciplinary problem that neither engineers nor policy scholars can solve alone. It calls for architects and material scientists working alongside medical doctors, anthropologists, for renewable energy specialists working alongside community historians and communicators, for economists working alongside ethicists. It calls, in short, for exactly the kind of integration this conference has been convened to explore. So what are my charges to this conference? So let us set the tone for what lies ahead over the coming days with a simple charge. To our scientists and engineers, do not build in isolation. Ask at every stage who this innovation is for and whether it speaks the cultural and institutional language of the people it must serve. To our scholars in the arts, humanities, and social sciences, do not remain content with diagnosis. Nigeria does not lack for critique of what is wrong. It needs your insight harnessed to the hard, practical work of building what is right. And to policy makers, development partners, and civil society in the room, recognize that inclusive governance, transparency, and accountability are researchers. Repeatedly identified as the missing ingredient in Nigerian development story, are not soft secondary concerns. They are the infrastructure upon which every green technology, every sustainable health facility, and every economic reform ultimately depends. I'd like to close. Nigerian story need not remain one of paradox of resources without prosperity and of talent without traction. But rewriting that story will not be the achievement of any single discipline. It will be the achievement of a generation of Nigerians, scientists and artists, engineers and historians, doctors and philosophers who understood the national development is at its heart an integrative art. That is the work of this conference. Let us begin it together in earnest. Thank you, and I wish all of us a most productive gathering. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. You're welcome. So I'll give a shout out of Bitcoin before we start speaking. Address. Professor Ekwe of PS of he retired as the national director of Yes.
Can you hear me, please?
Yes, Prof, we can hear you.
I hear you, Prof.
Good morning, all. And thank you for that introduction. I respectfully greet all dignitaries and distinguished guests here present. I'm honored and privileged to be invited to deliver this address entitled Towards Sustainable Development of Talent in Africa to this international conference. The convergence of the various institutions from several different countries organizing this conference underlines the importance of this subject. May I congratulate the organizers for pulling this through. This presentation will be in 4 parts. Firstly, I will introduce the concept of sustainable development in terms of the triple bottom line model, followed by its link to the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals, which Professor Andrew Haruna mentioned earlier on. We will then look at talent development in Africa. What are the challenges we face as we strive to build and shape the next generation of leaders in Africa? International experiences, the work of African talents in diaspora, and the need for a new diaspora engagement, the transnational knowledge diplomacy will follow. The address will be concluded by examining some specific issues for this conference to address: the stabilization of talent in Africa in the long term using the diaspora intellectual capital model. This is the triple bottom line model, which states that to achieve sustainable development, a balance of economic, environmental, and social sustainability factors need to be achieved. I will paraphrase the 1987 United Nations Brundtland Commission definition of sustainability development to interpret the sustainability development of talents in Africa as the ability to meet the current talent needs of Africa by building on the existing skills base without compromising the capability of our future generations to meet their own needs. This will enable us to explore what future economic, environmental, and social sustainability benefits that will accrue when this objective is met. The international response to sustainability development is the 17 United Nations Sustainable Development Goals, which are designed to give our planet a better future by 2030. That is in 4 years' time. Therefore, the main thrust of this talk is that the effective utilization of the existing skills base of the Africans in the diaspora, when transferred back to the continent and integrated with what we already have there, will be contributing to many of the 17 of the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals. So we'll be looking at how to transfer the skills base of the Africans in the diaspora back to the continent. Well, the above slide shows the mapping of these Sustainable Development Goals to the triple bottom line concept: economic, environmental, and social responsibility. One sees that the United Nations Sustainable Development Goal 17, partnership for the goals, is present for the 3 main factors. So by addressing an element of the sustainability, we will be contributing to many of the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals. So let's review what we mean by talent development before looking at the major challenges facing talent development in Africa. By definition, talent development is the discipline of helping people grow the skills, experiences, and confidence they need to thrive in their roles and advance within an organization. At its core, it is about unlocking human potential in a way that also strengthens business performance. talent development refers to the training, learning, and growth opportunities that expand employee effectiveness and prepare them for future roles. It includes everything from skill building workshops to leadership programs and career pathing. It is considered a key component of organizational performance because it fosters learning, engagement, and capability building across the workforce. But why does talent development matter? It benefits multiple levels of the ecosystem. For individuals, builds confidence and mastery in their roles, provides clear career pathways, and prepares them for the evolving job demands. For businesses, it strengthens the competitive advantage, reduces turnover by showing employees that their growth matters. It fills the skill gaps internally and improves the culture and engagement. For the broader economy, it creates a more skilled workforce, supports innovation, as well as regional economic growth. And we have that the talent management is the full employee life cycle of recruiting, onboarding, performance, as well as retention. And this takes us nicely to look at the major challenges facing talent development in Africa. This is hindered by systematic educational labor-to-labor mismatches, severe brain drain, and limited access to localized training infrastructure. Equitable talent development is severely restricted by geographical and socio-economic disparities. And these are caused mainly by corruption, barriers to African talent mobility, organizational issues, as well as limited technological base. So that takes us nicely to transnational knowledge diplomacy. We know that diaspora remittances to Africa now exceeds 90 billion US dollars annually, which is 6% of Africa's GDP. Foreign direct investment is about 48 billion and foreign aid is about 42 billion. Staggering as this contribution is, this view obscures the full spectrum of diaspora contributions, in particular, the vast underutilized pool of technical expertise, institutional reach, and influence, and that is intellectual capital. With financial remittances tending to diminish across generations, it is important that other forms of capital, such as intellectual capital, are as systematically harnessed as financial capital has been to date. Diaspora engagement should be understood not as charity, but as transnational knowledge diplomacy, and why mobilizing diaspora intellectual capital is essential to shaping the development of talents for Africa. The Africa diaspora represents a vast but underutilized reservoir of intellectual capital. The knowledge, skills, technical, professional, and research expertise that can shape, test, and scale solutions for talent development. We can work with those in diaspora via visiting professorships in our institutions. They could serve as executive directors, staff of our businesses to help with the networks, knowledge, and skills base. And we know very well that there are several highly distinguished engineers of African descent who have been elected to the National Academy of Engineering in the United States. Just as an example, so we have on my left Dr. Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala from Nigeria. She took office as the WTO Director General, 1st of March 2021. She's a global expert in finance, economics, and international development. And we know that Dr. Okonjo-Iweala has twice served as Nigeria's finance minister, 2003 to 2006, and then 2011 to 2015, and briefly acted as foreign minister in 2006. Sorry, in 2006. The first woman to hold both positions. On our right is Professor Washington Ochieng. He is the head of Department of Civil and Environmental Engineering and chair professor in Positioning and Navigation Systems at Imperial College, London. So we have Professor Akintunde Akinwande is a professor in electrical engineering and computer science at the Massachusetts Institute of Technology, Cambridge, where we know Professor Akinwande got his first degree from University of Ife in 1978 in electrical engineering. And then we have Professor Totola Oni, who is a clinical professor in the Global Diet and Activity Research Group here at the University of Cambridge. So we have Professor David Lembea, where he's gone back to South Africa in 2019 after a distinguished academic career spanning nearly 40 years in the UK at the universities of Cambridge, Imperial College London, and Oxford. So let me crave your indulgence to draw on my personal experiences. I've held visiting professorships in Nigerian and UK universities during my industrial career in the United Kingdom. And of special mention, my visiting professorships at the Federal University of Technology, Owerri, 1996 to 1999, and then at the University of Nigeria, Nsukka, 2014 to 2024. Within these periods, I taught several undergraduate and postgraduate courses, both online and in person, as well as supervising PhD and MNG projects. I am pleased to say that I graduated successfully 7 PhD students at the University of Nigeria, Nsukka. One is a Dean of Engineering in a Polytechnic, one a reader in Power Systems, and 2 senior lecturers, and one is currently a postdoctoral research fellow in South Africa. That's the evidence to show that the expertise of our Africans in the diaspora can be harnessed for talent development in the continent. As the theme of the conference states that the second International Conference on Arts, Health Science, Artificial Intelligence, and Sustainability Systems 2026 is a premier interdisciplinary forum designed to bring together scholars, researchers, healthcare professionals, engineers, technologists, artists, industry leaders, and policy makers from around the world. I believe that to achieve a sustainable development of talent in Africa, we can have 2 phases. And within the phase 1, organizations must develop and retain the talent they already have. This makes talent development a strategic necessity, not a nice to have activity. We must embrace the rapid technological changes happening globally. We must address some of the practices such as corruption that retards our growth. We must be aware of competitive labor markets and work with fellow Africans in diaspora. And we need to be aware of shifting job requirements. The main conference themes are shown in the booklet as well as on the slides: allied health sciences and clinical interventions, mechatronics, robotics and intelligent systems, advanced engineering sciences and smart systems, sustainable technologies and green health, arts, creativity and human-centered innovation. We have in this table identified some of the issues, and it's my invitation to all the participants to seek solutions to some of these challenges from the themes of the conference. Now for phase 2, for this sustainable development of talent in Africa, let's go back to the triple bottom line model presented earlier and use it as a framework to evaluate the potential benefits of sustainable talent development in Africa. And the first one is economic. There is the need to reverse the brain drain to enhance the regional economic prospects. People do go back and people do contribute from here. I have cited many examples to justify that point. We need to access the diaspora intellectual capital to bridge the gap between the different socio-economic groups. And on environmental, this will empower the individuals to adopt an eco-friendly behavior, enables the workforce to transit to green economies, development of sustainable innovations that minimize waste and environmental impact. And on social, we'll be emphasizing learning, career mobility, and succession planning. Knowledge and skills acquisition is the bedrock of social sustainability as it empowers individuals, reduces inequalities, and fosters cohesive, resilient communities. By equipping populations with the right competencies, societies can tackle systematic challenges, drive democratic participation, and ensure that human well-being is maintained across generations. By so doing, Africa will be contributing ultimately a lot more to the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals. This is my presentation, and I'll be sending the full text of this address to the chairman. I thank you for listening, and I wish you a successful conference.
Enough praise, enough praise, please let us welcome her. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Standing on the system, once you give us a story of what the first speaker and the second speaker talked about. And then we now move forward to the question and answers. So we wish that at least we entertain 5 questions from the audience. And if you have any online, not so much that you got your questions. So, like we've seen from the first speaker that talks about integrated art skills, engineering, health, social sciences, and the industry for sustainable development, innovation and development. The keynote emphasizes that addressing today's complex global and global challenges require a multidisciplinary approach that integrates the strengths of the art, science, engineering, health, social sciences, and industry. No single discipline can independently provide sustainable solutions to issues such as health and living, climate change, digital transformation, food security, environmental sustainability, and economic development. The speaker highlighted the complementary roles of each discipline. Science generating new knowledge through research and discovery, while engineering transforms scientific knowledge into practical technologies and solutions. The health scientists ensure that innovation improves human well-being and quality of life. The social sciences provide insight into human behavior, policy, government, and the social acceptance of new technology. The arts foster creativity, design thinking, communication, and cultural learning, making innovation more user-friendly and widely accepted. Industry serves as the bridge between research and society by commercializing innovation, creating employment opportunities, and driving economic growth. So, finally, he said, emerging technologies, including artificial intelligence, the Internet of Things, robotics, biotechnology, defined as enablers. So, and then the second speaker went ahead to talk about talent funds. That he emphasizes that Africa's greatest resource is its people, and that sustainable development depends efficiently in enhancing the continent's talent. So with this, I would like us to raise our questions. So any question you have for these people, please take it forward. Yeah, there's a hand up there. Yes, stand up. Yeah, you can come over. Come forward. Hey. I have welcome back, and you are online to answer your questions.
Good morning, all. My name is Kennedy Kennedy. 100-level undergraduates, medical laboratory science department. My question is, it is of my understanding as a science practicing student that most especially the not science begin to society Every science student in Nigeria has this understanding that there is no intellectual confederation of our course in Nigeria. Rather, the greener pasture lies abroad. You can agree with me on that. So I want to ask a question. And having understood everything that the Ahiaise Conference has said, we the African countries, especially Nigerians, are losing our African experts in the Western country. And also, too, with the issue of AI automation and artificial intelligence, the 1990s and the 2020 generation is not the same. But I must say, AI is the future, but at some point, AI will become an addiction. So why encouraging students to adapt to new trend in intellectual efficiency? I do advise our organization, the government set out a scrutiny of what bodies, because at some point, AI will become an addiction. And help me understand this. How do you imagine a system of doctors, nurses, radiographers, and other health practices students passing the exams with the aid of AI? That's the endangers the working professionalism of the healthcare system. Thank you very much. The question. So, can you please respond to the question? Silence. Yeah,
Yeah. Sound, please.
Okay. Professor, can you not hear?
No, I can't hear.
You were just talking from muted mic. So please, I'm gonna give the mic back to the students so that you can hear this question. Thank you.
Okay.
Okay, my question is, hello, sir. My question is, as a medical and science practicing student, it is of my understanding that the healthcare practitioners do understand that our qualifications as healthcare administrators are better appreciated abroad, which will endanger the learning system of our country in Nigeria. Two, AI automation is the future. I do understand that, but also artificial intelligence will turn into an application. And how do we understand this? A panel of school doctors on our future network passing their school exams with AI aid. And with this being happen, I think it will endanger the learning excellence of healthcare practitioners in Nigeria. So these are my questions. Thank you very much, Prof. We are going to get the second question so that I can deal with the questions all at once. Is that the second question? Any other question? Want to attempt to get? Let us get the questions so that I can deal with all of them at once. Yes.
Okay. Prof, thank you very much for the wonderful delivery of the entire speech. I wanted to find out that all of us know that everybody tends to go abroad, and talked about development and retention of existing talent. How do we do that in this economy? China is what it is today because they go to Europe, America, get trained, come back home and develop their economy. So how do we institutionalize our talent here and develop our country so that the brain drain will be caused? Thank you very much.
Thank you. Question number 3. Question number 2. Any other? Okay. In the absence of none, Prof, please. If I answer your question.
Hello? Hello?
Hello, Prof. We can
Hello,
hear you,
Prof.
sir.
We can hear you, Prof.
I hear you. Go on, Prof.
Well, what I had, the question I had, how do we institutionalize our talent here in Nigeria? Is that correct? Is that the question? Did I hear properly? Yeah. Did I hear properly the question?
Prof, you had the question correctly.
Yeah, okay. Well, firstly, I will use my background as an example. I studied in Nigeria before coming abroad for postgraduate studies. And when I finished, I went back to Nigeria before returning to UK. And what I have done, and that's why I had to give my own personal experiences, that instead of us seeing it as a brain drain, that it's also possible to reverse what we term the brain drain, because by coming over here, you acquire more experience working with our English or foreign counterparts and sending that knowledge, the skills and knowledge back home. And that's why I gave my personal examples at the Federal University of Technology, Owerri, as well as at the University of Nigeria and Nsukka. And that's why I also showed the evidence of how I was here delivering lectures by Zoom to the students at Nsukka, as well as supervising projects. In fact, I was going home, regularly for over a period of 10 years at the University of Nigeria and Nsukka. I don't know whether I answered the question. I don't know whether I answered the question. And even till today, I am very much in touch with my former students, both at the Federal University of Technology, Owerri, or at the University of Nigeria and Nsukka. I don't know whether I have addressed it.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
So I will now call the...
Please, let me make one more point. Let me make one. Please, let me make one more point. My email address is there. So I'll be happy if anyone sends me an email.
Okay, Prof. Thank you, sir.
So the question I have, which has been directed to me, is I will want to,
okay. So I want to stand on existing protocols. Thank you very much, Professor Haruna, for being here. Thank you, Dr. Anon. I want to appreciate all our distinguished professors of the university, the lecturers, the students, ladies and gentlemen. I want to appreciate you all. I want to thank you for attending the second international conference on arts, health science, AI, and sustainable systems, holding in the Federal University of Allied Health Sciences in Enugu. I want to thank you all on behalf of the conference management team. I sincerely appreciate your presence, support, and commitment to making this conference a huge success. This conference, as you all have seen, provides valuable platform for researchers, academics, professionals, industry experts, and other stakeholders to share knowledge, exchange ideas, and explore innovative solutions to contemporary challenges. I am confident that with the presentations that will happen soon, discussions and networking opportunities throughout this conference, they will be enriching and impactful, fostering meaningful collaboration and contributing to the advancement of knowledge and practice in our respective fields. I wish you all a rewarding and memorable experience. Thank you once again for being a part of this. And as we move, before we move our tea break, I want to warmly invite Reverend Sister Helen on the stage to give the closing remark. Please let us welcome her. Good day, everybody, wherever you're listening from.
I thank all of us for actively participating. I thank Professor Haruna for giving us an incisive topic and we had interaction. Prof, thank you so much for making our time. I thank Dr. Calvin, who is going to dance us tomorrow, and for all time. And all our partners, I thank the VC, Professor John Imai and the management team, and all the conference team that have been working tirelessly to see the success of today's this conference. You know, as students and all those listening to us online, we are meant to, the conference slogan is meant for us to connect, collaborate, and when we connect and collaborate, we have knowledge from each other, and the end product is impact, changing our society wherever we are in any country. So once more, I thank all of us, and we hope to stay in our different tracks to do the presentation. By the end of tomorrow, all of us will go home in peace. Thank you very much. Thank you, the conference chair, Professor Kennedy, and all of us. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sister, for the closing remark. Please, we have the tea break now. Then after the tea break, we'll break off to our various tracks. Thank you very much.
What's up for you now? For now, I am.
see from our financial statements, we keep as little money as possible. Because good morning, sir. Welcome.
Bode bi ga-edu nwa je ka isi ka izogodi a.
For South Africa. She obtained her degree in electrical and electronics engineering from the University of Johannesburg in 2017. She previously earned her master's and BSc degrees in electrical and electronics engineering from the Federal University of Technology, Akure, Nigeria. She is a senior member of the Institute of Electrical Can you unmute? Can you unmute? Can you unmute?
Hello, am I to start now? Kindly let me know. I can't hear you guys in the venue.
Please, you can start.
Do you want me to start now?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you. Because I wasn't hearing anything from the venue. And please let me know when you see my screen, please.
Yes, we can see your screen.
Okay, all right. Okay, thank you very much. I would like to sincerely appreciate the organizers of this conference, the International Conference in Arts, Earth Science, Artificial Intelligence, and Sustainable Systems, holding right there in Enugu, Nigeria. I want to also appreciate the organizers and all those who have extended this invitation to me to be part of this conference. I am glad to be here. I want to say a big thanks to my colleagues, Professor Kennedy from the UK, Professor Fina, and others. Thank you. Thank you for the Vice Chancellor who earlier gave the opening speech, and also thank you for the Secretary of the University Commission of Nigeria. Also, thank you, and Professor Ato for that highly insightful speech. I want to say thank you. All right, going straight to business. So I am here to deliver a short talk, and it's been titled Smart Solar Power Light Emitting Diode Lighting for Improved Art Health and Academic performance. So already I know they have already read my bio. So I'm from the Department of Electrical and Electric Engineering Science here in the University of Johannesburg, where I'm deputy head of the department and also the chair of the Smart Power and Energy Systems research group. I have been privileged to serve locally, of course, while in Nigeria, and also here in South Africa. I have pioneered in South Africa, Southern Africa, and Africa, the Women in Power IEEE PES chapters, and be glad to see them doing well all over. I've been privileged to also have 2 patents and published over 90 papers, co-authored 2 books, and thank you. In today's presentation, I will be speaking briefly. This will be the headline basically of my presentation, and I will try as much as possible, since it's a workshop, to try to not a keynote like my previous speakers, to try to provide some technical inputs to the topic at hand. So coming to background that led to this study. Energy poverty, as we know, is a crippling issue, and it's widespread, and especially in sub-Saharan Africa, and here in South Africa, from where I do this the work. We have over 16 million households in South Africa that live in energy poverty. So when we say energy poverty, is not just that you have access to electricity. You may have access to electricity by your means, but are you able to pay for that access? because sometimes when you have access and you cannot afford to pay, then you need to look for other means of meeting your energy that is still within your financial capability. And that's why you see some houses, we call them like informal settlements, they may be close to the city, they may even have electricity close to them, but they cannot afford to pay the electricity bill. So for that reasons, they will still try to meet their energy needs in certain other ways, and mostly unclean ways, whether with a coal cooking pot, or with candles, or with paraffin. I know Nigeria we call it a kerosene. So there are other ways in which people have tried to meet their energy needs. And this also has had effect on certain areas of life, education, and also mental stress, which is what led to my topic. And actually, when I received the invitation to speak at this conference, I thought of, oh, I'm used to speaking to electrical engineers and so on, and but this university is an earth institute. What will I speak? So then I remembered, okay, I've done something related to health before, so let me speak about it. All right. So this is what now led to this study. And so with that, not try to bring in some type of smartness into the system by introducing artificial intelligence, able to optimize the energy system and allocation and planning, to be able to achieve the desired success. So even though we struggle with energy poverty issue, we also at the same time also struggle with what we call the energy availability factor. So in South Africa, we presently sit of at about 61.8% of energy availability factor, which is still below the global average that's supposed to be 85%, meaning that you don't also have electricity. Even those of you who even have it in the mains, who may even be able to even afford to also pay, you still do not also have electricity available to you to use 100% of the times, because of certain things. There could be due to the grid reliability conditions. And that also has affected a lot of children, especially when they are in the rural areas. They have to study with candle, and there's a lot of havoc that and health hazard and physical hazards that result from that. You see people that while they are reading, children may doze up, and then the candle is gonna burn them, burn their hair, or burn their clothes, or burn the table, and before you know it, even the whole house can also burn in certain conditions. We have had many of such occurrences here, even in South Africa, where we study about the shark fires and their relationship with energy and poverty. So therefore, I have separated this talk this afternoon into two basic sections: smart lighting from include academic performance, and the other aspect will be for the art health, okay, which may align with most of you. Okay, so this side we have published this work last year at a conference. So here we optimize the system. We develop a lead cube 4x4 system, and then we integrated AI for the battery management system to be able to adequately predict the time, the charging time, vis-a-vis the study hours, the forecasted study hours for the students for perfect delivery of what is required. This is a simplified layout of the entire system. I won't go much into it because there are not too much of electrical engineers in the room. Okay, so then we try to develop the hybrid system, and the reason why also we integrated solar into it is because wanted to develop a solution that is not just going to be for the rich or for those who can afford electricity. Should you be in a rural area, in an off-grid area, you should still be able to access and use this device and enjoy what it can give you. So we collected weather data, study data. We investigated and tested this prototype with 10 students in rural Limpopo province here in South Africa. And we develop a simple linear regression just to, because we don't have too much parameters in this situation. And so we also developed the optimization model in order to ensure that the energy is optimized for all the functions that we intend for the device. And this ensured that we're able to now work with a kind of a model, because like I said, we are trying to ensure that this solution is able to help the students who are struggling in the rural areas to read, or in off-grid area, or should you be in a situation where you can you want to have access to electricity but you cannot afford. I've had such experience before. I've lived in a complex before whereby of course, there's electricity in my complex, but there was a student in one of the units there whose parents could not afford electricity, and she was preparing for a final secondary school exam, like we call WAEC and SSC in Nigeria. So you see, in that situation, so they cannot they are connected to the mains, but they cannot afford to pay for the electricity from the mains. So there was the dynamic energy management system to ensure that the priority of the user is brought into place in the design. So this is the final product of what we developed. So what we do, there's an aesthetic design outcome more of the lighting. So in our research, also as engineers, we know that there are different lights, and different lights have different capability. So blue light is one of the light that has some mental capability. It has some psychological capability. So that was why we inculcated blue light into this work, not only for lighting, but also to achieve our second purpose. And this is the solar the sun data. And here also, by what we're able to do, we discovered that the students were able to read longer, and their average academic performance increased from 52% to about 67% for the 10 students that used the device for the period in which it was used. So this just to show the energy savings capability of the system. And that's about the lighting situation. So we're able to achieve what we set out to achieve, which was to see that we are able to contribute to affordable and clean lighting for improved academic performance. So the second aim of this prototype was for us to develop smart lighting for Earth. And by the grace of God, this work is already patented and approved here in South Africa, and willing to collaborate with companies locally and internationally for the production. So here we this is the edge side of it. So we developed we connected a wearable with the system. So once the person wears it, it takes a record of the heart rate of the person at the point of wearing. So if it's discovered that the heart rate is low, or the heart rate is high, then it's going to manipulate is going to intelligently manipulate the lighting design, because in our research also discovered that there is a relationship also between the heart of a man, the brain, not go with lighting. So it's gonna now come and say, okay, this person is having low heart rates, so it's going to pattern the lighting in the way that will suit the the brain and the heart, and calm the heart. And then if it's also too high, it's going to bring it down. So this we did with tested, and we're able to see for bradycardia's situation where we tested two situations, and we saw that it was able to help somebody with a low heart rate to get his heart rate normalized, and somebody also with a high heart rate above 100 was also able to also normalize the the heart rate. So in conclusion, because of my time, I know I was given 15 minutes, so I have to do justice to that. So thank you. So so I want to say that indeed we can be able to explore the capacities that we have, the capabilities that we have, to ensure that we solve the solutions that are around us. In this case, we have been able to see how we can be able to optimize LED, and especially blue light, for improved academic performance, and improved heart rate for people, either they are in, because most of these devices that people have usually used to uh, is very expensive. Actually, at the beginning of this work, the student that actually work on this, he actually was suffering from this, but he didn't always have the money to always go for the therapy that were required to to address his stress level. So I remember he came to me and said, Prof, I'm always having this challenge. Can Are we able to, from electrical side, address this problem? And I said, okay, yes, we can. There's nothing impossible. Let's go into it. And himself is a living proof that this solution is a reality. So and it works. So so it's always good that we explore, we develop solutions that actually mitigate the existing problems in our various domains and societies. Just like the professor from the University, Nigeria University Commission said, I've forgotten his name now. So we need to actually develop solutions for the real world. So thank you very much. I'm grateful for the presentation. I look forward to any question that you may have for me. And should you want to send me an email, you're also free to do so. Thank you.
Second speaker, so that you both will take the questions together. Please, I hope you don't mind.
Okay, no problem. It's fine. I'll wait for. It's my
Thank you so much.
sister,
Thank you so much.
Dr. Renena.
So I want to also read a short profile of our second speaker before she can start her own presentation. Please, could you spotlight Dr. Chioma Onashabo? Could you spotlight her? Dr. Chioma Onashabo. Okay. Okay. Dr. Chioma Mercy Onashabo is an assistant professor in management and entrepreneurship at Aberdeen Business School, Robert Gordon University, Scotland, United Kingdom. A passionate academic researcher and social advocate. Her career focuses on inclusive entrepreneurship, gender equity and socio-economic development, with specific expertise in exploring how thematic and structural barriers impact women-led enterprises in underrepresented communities and the global south. Her academic foundations are remarkably diverse. She originally graduated with a Bachelor of Science in Petroleum Engineering from Rivers State University, Nigeria, before pivoting her focus to international business and management. She later gained an MSc in Information Engineering with Network Management, an MSc in International Business, and a PhD in Entrepreneurship and Innovation, all from Robert Mugabe University, Aberdeen. An exceptionally active scholar, Dr. Onashako has established extensively in career academic journals and collaborative book volumes, including the International Journal of Entrepreneurial Behavior and Research and the Journal of Small Business and Enterprise Development. A prolific research portfolio encompasses critical contemporary issues such as the entrepreneurial realities of women under patriarchal systems, policy failures in West African female entrepreneurship, and economic potential of women-owned home-based businesses in Scotland, and the intersectional impact of artificial intelligence and digital engagement on marginalized female professionals. In addition to her research output, she serves the broader scientific community as an associate editor for the Journal of the International Council for Small Business. Dr. Onashako heavily prioritizes bridging the gap between rigorous academic theory and grassroots public policy. As a dedicated strategist and advocate, she has actively supported female entrepreneurs in securing over 8.5 million naira in capital to scale their enterprises. Demonstrating a strong commitment to her roots, she recently presented an essential policy brief titled Unlocking Economic Potential, Empowering Nigerian Women Entrepreneurs Through Inclusive Financial Assets to the Rivers State Ministry of Commerce and Industry in Nigeria, advocating for gender-sensitive financial frameworks, improved institutional lending structures, and elevated digital financial literacy. Through her continuous outreach as an international speaker, policy collaborator, and mentor, Dr. Onashako remains a leading voice in designing inclusive, resilient economic ecosystems globally. Please may we welcome Dr. Chioma Onashako. It's a round of applause.
Thank you so much. Good afternoon, everyone.
Dr. Chioma, can you hear us?
Yes, I can. Good afternoon, everyone. Please, can you hear me? Can someone shout at me if you can hear me?
Yes, we can hear you, ma'am.
Can hear you, Doctor. Okay. So I'm going to stand on existing protocols. I want to thank everyone, the organizers, the Vice Chancellor, for putting together this amazing conference. IEEE as well. This second international conference on art, health science, artificial intelligence, and sustainable system is indeed coming at the right time. So I want to thank the organizers for putting together and for inviting me to give this keynote address. I bring you greetings from cold Aberdeen in Scotland, always cold, and also from the huge Nigerian community that we have here in Aberdeen. So my keynote address is titled Human-Centered AI and Inclusive Innovation for Sustainable National Development. Okay, so before I start, I would like to discuss the moment we are in now before we begin to look at the future and trying to make some recommendations that can help move our nation forward. Okay, So we know that artificial intelligence is reshaping health, arts, industry, governance across all fields. But the question is, who is included in that transformation and who is left out in this transformation? There's a potential that AI can increase the global GDP by $15.7 trillion. Now, this is globally, but what is included in this transformation, right? Now we look at the infrastructure that we have in sub-Saharan Africa, particularly in Nigeria. What infrastructure do we have to be able to contribute or partake in this $15.7 trillion GDP contributed, estimated by PwC? We look at our broadband infrastructure and the Internet of Things, right? Worldwide, there's a 2.6 billion deficit in terms of number of people who have access to internet, basic infrastructure. Now, looking at Nigeria, we have 50% of people without access to internet or good quality internet. Now, out of that 50%, 23% are in the rural area. If we are looking at artificial intelligence and how it's going to reshape our entire economy, we cannot leave 50% of the whole nation behind. We cannot leave 23% of people in the rural areas behind. So we'll talk about the Sustainable Development Goals that this conference aims to address. And I looked at it, and indeed, this conference is addressing the entire 17 of them. So kudos again to the organizers. Now, I look at two concepts from the title of my keynote. We have two concepts, but it's one vision driving my thought process. There's a human-centered AI on one side, and then there's inclusive innovation on the other hand. What is human-centered AI? How are we building our AI systems in Nigeria? Are we building it just copying from what is existing already in Western countries? Or are we more concerned about the needs of our communities, the needs of the users of these AI systems? So our AI systems should be designed around our needs, around our values as a people, around our dignity as a people, what we have, our available resources. So we cannot be designing AI systems that require high bandwidth, for instance, when we know our current challenge and infrastructural needs. We should be building AI systems that will augment human judgment and not to replace them. So I don't think we are yet at the point where we build AI systems that completely erases human. I mean, I'm speaking from a Nigerian perspective. But we need AI systems that can support and complement what we are doing. I mean, we're 200 million people. If we have AI systems that can make those 200 million people be quicker, be more efficient, be more productive, then that way we are scaling our impact and driving sustainable national development. We need to build systems that are transparent and explainable. We don't need complex systems. Principles of design thinking need to come in place when we are building AI systems. We need systems that can support, for instance, a doctor's judgment, that can help make things quicker and save lives in this case. So AI system that amplifies rather than erodes human capability. So human-centered AI, humans should be at the center of what we build. And then the other part is inclusive innovation. Who are we building for? We should ensure we're building AI systems that no one is left behind. So irrespective of your gender, I'm a gender advocate, irrespective of your race, your ethnicity, whether you're a young person, whether you're age, whether you're pregnant, whether you're single, nursing mother, we should build inclusive systems that will carry everyone along. Okay, And again, irrespective of sector, that's why I love the concept of this conference that bridges that gap, that brings the different fields together so we can begin to reason alike. How can we combine innovation from the arts and science to produce results? Irrespective whether you're disabled, the informal sector is a huge sector. We should build inclusive innovation. So I have written there, how do we build inclusive innovation? We need to co-create. We need to co-create our AI systems and our innovation, not just building from top-bottom approach, but from bottom-up approach. The users of this AI system should be at the center. And I put an example here. What are we doing about, I mean, this is just a food of thought. When I was thinking about my presentation, our NYSC camps, can we turn them into AI camps? You can imagine training everyone who goes through the NYSC system for 1 year on AI, building AI systems that work for the community where you've been posted to. You don't need to go, and we can turn Nigeria into an engine of innovation with the bright, young, smart people that we graduate on a yearly basis. And this is a charge to the university to be able to push this and begin to challenge what we have existed. I believe that Nigeria, through our NYSC programs, can scale the impact of AI systems in Nigeria. Now, the nexus where the two meet, human-centered AI, we have inclusive innovation. When they come together, this is what turns technology into the sustainable national development that we all need, right? Embracing the different fields like this conference is encouraging, using technology to drive that impact. So let's look at human-centered AI in practice. I did a bit of research to see what exactly is going on, what scale are we at in Nigeria. I've seen remarkable progress. You know, people are embracing the use of AI systems. In health, for instance, we have AI-assisted apps, you know, that can help our medical facilities to be able to identify cases, sicknesses that leads to newborn death. There's also Prescribe Right that helps to digitize doctors' handwriting. We know the challenge with the doctor's prescription, but these apps are already in place to help to improve that. In terms of arts and heritage as well, we have AI tools that help documentation, right? You know, I've been to museums and centers in Nigeria where we still have paper documents. We can begin to build AI apps that can digitize and save our heritage and transcribe it into Yoruba, Hausa, Igbo. There's the N-Atlas multilingual AI model as well in operational, which is a huge step in the right direction. In terms of agriculture, we have apps such as Zenvos that can help you check soil sensor, you know, to promote precision agriculture. These are the systems we're encouraging young people in the room to begin to think about as you're ready to graduate. Education, I've spoken about how we can begin to think about our education curriculum, right? Is there a way we can focus to say, this semester we are focusing on building AI system. Can we rejig our education curriculum to make sure that we are preparing graduates that are fit for work and that can help to transform the nation? So inclusive innovation in practice, what can we do, right? We need to close the access gap, going back to the 23% broadband connectivity gap in Nigeria. We need to be able to build and design in local languages that we can understand, right? Like the N-Atlas, but we need to do more. You know, we need to back grassroots innovation. All these platforms and apps that have AI systems that I've spoken about, none of them is built by the government. Individuals like you and myself, students, that are seeing and engage with the everyday problem. We need to encourage more of this and support them through private equity funding. And we need to build for every ability, everyone, irrespective of your circumstance, gender, disability, age, informal sector. We need to begin to build for everyone. But again, there are risks that we must manage. Progress is not automatic. I know I've said a lot of nice things, but there are risks involved. There's the algorithmic bias, the bias and the AI the models, because they are trained originally based on the Western mindset. That's why we need our young people. We need everyone to get on board so that we can begin to retrain these models to be able to think like an African, to think like a Nigerian. We need to embed our values into training these systems. There's also the issue of data governance, okay? We need to weak privacy and security protection. We know we have the Nigeria's Data Protection Act that gives legal foundation, but we need to do more to enforce any legislations or any breaches of this Data Governance Act. Job displacement is a fear, but if we continue to train and retrain our graduates, then it shouldn't be a fear, because you're not being reskilled on a particular skill set that is needed in the future. So it shouldn't be a fear. There's a 3MTT program done by the government, which is commendable, training people on AI literacy. We need to do more. But indeed, the education sector needs to embed AI literacy into our curriculum, hands-on AI building to be able to change the trajectory of Nigeria. And AI, the risk there is that the divide will continue to widen if we do nothing about it. I've shown you already just one data that is showing the urban and rural disparity. If we do nothing about it, the risk that AI will continue to widen that gap exists. So a roadmap for action that we can, as a group, turn this into a policy brief and send to the government. We need to invest in inclusive digital infrastructure. I've said that again, connectivity across the nation. And we need to start from the underserved regions first when building, when doing infrastructure, not from the people and high end and Lagos and Abuja. We need to start from the underserved regions first, because we know that the people in the highbrow area will be able to at least afford a substitute until the government gets to them. But we need to start from the underserved regions first. We need to build local AI talent and literacy. Again, I keep on saying it, the NYSC camp is a low-hanging fruit for us to begin to tackle and build local AI talent. The whole world will come to Nigeria to find AI talent. We need to co-create policy with communities. Again, we need to not move from discussions in Abuja, in Lagos, to begin to build, this AI strategy with our communities, co-create. They are the ones that speak the language. They know the pain. So they can give us the problem for our students or our NYC members to build the solutions, right? Grassroots co-creating policies, embed ethics and accountability. People need to know that they can trust the AI systems. We need clear standards, clear responsible AI strategy from the government, and then forge public-private people partnership. Government sets the direction, the industry builds, and then the citizens are the ones who co-create, all of these three every time, happening every time, and we'll begin to see a change within our national development. So in conclusion, this is a statement that I have. The future of AI must be built with everyone and for everyone, for us to truly achieve what we really want to achieve. So thank you very much. You can find me on LinkedIn. I'm happy to engage with people and take questions now.
Thank you very much. We heard from the thank you, Professor Longe and Dr. Choba, for your insightful lecture. It's really interesting and educative. So, like you know, from the first lecture of Professor Longe, talking about the design and smart solar powered lighting system to improve your heart rate and academics. And Professor Thomas, Dr. Thomas talks about the human-centered AI and inclusivity. So I don't know if any one of you has a question to give to this. I think, yes. Please come up with your question. Yeah. Number two, is there any other, or are going to draw line? Any other question? Number two, I've only seen two hands. Thereafter, well, I'll give the mic to the two profs to answer their question.
Okay, thank you. My question is on the last presenter who talks about AI driven. And my question is this. We as Nigerians, we are very good in conferences, summits, hosting interventions without putting to work. So I'm caught on the 15.7 trillion AI projection in that is 2030, when the global market of AI is going to give to the world. So my question is, what measure is the universities in Nigeria or the country doing to tap into this 15.7 trillion AI projection that is going to happen? Because it's not about having conferences. Is there any action to put? Is there any research interventions to universities so that people can go to research and start developing robotic AI machine learning to tap into this 15.7 trillion AI innovation? Thank you. That's my question.
So the second question.
All right, thank you very much. My question goes to the Professor Longe. She made mention of energy poverty. And my understanding of energy poverty is in the case of Nigeria, it's suffering with the need to split because we have energy, but we are in energy poverty. Now, that means that we have energy that is wasted. This conference is an opportunity for us to bring ourselves together to know how to optimize this energy so that we can have enough of this energy for our industries and other sectors of the country. So my question is, how do we optimize this energy, especially in the Nigerian context, where we know that we have a lot of them? Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for the question. Please, you want to have Professor Longe and Dr. Thelma, please want to add that to this question.
Okay, thank you for that question. I think it's very important so that we are not just speaking, and there's no action. I made two recommendations that I think we can start with, starting from the university and the teachers and the lecturers. You have a part to play. We can say for this semester, change our curriculum to make sure that everybody in the class can build one AI system as a mini project. That's a way we start before you graduate in 4 years. everybody should have built an AI system. Whether you're going, even those going for IT, we can turn those IT periods for engineers. I know I did 6 months in a company. We can turn it to build an AI system. That way, it is hands-on. Second way, I know somebody from NUC was here. It's something we can put forth. You know, curriculums are meant to be changed. They are not meant to be static. So we can change that. Second is through this NYSC. I remember just before I did my NYC, that's when they changed it, that everybody must teach. I think in River State, everybody must teach. That is a solution that was based on the need at the time. Now we are in the need for AI revolution. We can change what NYSC is meant to be as a way to tackle this problem and take advantage of that 1.57 trillion dollars GDP.
That's what is suggested.
Thank you very much. I think there was a question. Can we have a Professor Lange attempt to answer the question from the first?
Okay, Prof, I will suggest if the person can please ask the question again, because my system froze. I know he began by saying energy poverty, but I don't know what else he was asking about energy poverty. Yeah, my screen froze that time he was speaking.
Yes, I was trying to say that energy poverty in the Nigerian context could be likened to our local language suffering in the midst of plenty. We have a whole lot of energy, we lack energy, and because we waste energy that should be utilized for our national development. And I was saying, how do we optimize this energy that are wasted, especially in Nigerian context, so that we can use it in different sectors of the economy? Thank you for test.
Okay. Okay. Thank you very much for the. Okay. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you for the question. So actually, when we talk about energy poverty, there are like a major, like 4 dimensions. You understand that we usually look at. We look at the sufficiency of the energy. We look at the safety of the energy. We look at the reliability of the energy. And lastly, we look at the affordability of the energy. So anytime someone is talking about energy poverty, the person could be speaking to any of these dimensions or could be speaking to all of these dimensions. So if we talk about being able to optimize energy that is wasting, I think first of all, Nigeria is not even generating enough, number one, to meet the energy demand of Nigerian system. And then secondly, there are many places, of course, where energy is being wasted. Maybe in offices, in homes. Some of you must have left your home now and forgot to squeeze up your security light. You understand? Someone might even leave the room, maybe because before you left the home, maybe there wasn't electricity supply. And so you forgot that last night you slept with the fan, but with the fan or the AC on. But you woke up this morning, in the middle of the night, there wasn't electricity again. And so you left. And before you got home, there was electricity in between. And then the fan was just blowing, or the AC was cooling the empty space. You understand? So there are a lot of work already in that space. You understand? To talk about smart switches, which who can sense human presence, come on, human absence, and go off. We also have different types of energy efficiency algorithms and devices that are really in the market already. I just think what we just need to look into is more local production that will make these devices affordable for Nigerians to install in their houses. Because if we just wait to always import these devices, we may not achieve what we intend with energy efficiency, efficient use of energy. However, energy efficiency is different from energy poverty. You understand? So we need to be able to see how we can be able to harness that aspect of energy for the benefit of everyone. And please, I just want to make a contribution to Dr. Chioma's presentation. And talking about being intentional, anything we want to do in this dispensation, we have to be intentional about it. I remember about 10 years ago, we had a vice chancellor at my university of Johannesburg, and he decided to change the space of research in UJ. So he embarked on an ambition of UJ 4.0. So every faculty in UJ was mandated to do 4IR related research. It even fed into our KPI. You have to report how many papers have you published this year that is related to KPI, how many students you are supervising who is doing something related to 4IR. So and AI is one of the 4IR technologies, and that mandate drove the university so much that in South Africa, if you are looking for an AI university, you come to UJ. You understand? Even in Faculty of Law, we have AI and Law. They still did AI and Law conference last week. Faculty of Science, there is AI. Every faculty in UJ is AI related. Is, let me say, four IR related, because you have to do something related to 4IR. And then if you are going to even get my bursary scholarship, as it's called in Nigeria, even for your postgraduate studies, your proposal must be for IR related. So it drove that mandate, and that was very great. So I believe also the universities, the vice chancellors, and so on, they can be intentional. Even the Ministry of Education, whoever is funding TED Fund, can say, if you want to get funding from TED Fund, make sure your research proposal is 4IR related. Because even people have already let 4IR, or not even talking about six IR, but already even in 4IR we are not performing. So there's need to be a lot of intentionality into policy that will drive all these things, because that is when this is going to really strive. I make a comment to what Professor Atos said earlier about bringing people from a diaspora to contribute and so on. All of this is also part of intentionality, because like someone like me, I'm a beneficiary of that program that President Obasanjo did in his time, whereby he recruited Nigerian best brains across the world and asked them to choose which university they would like to serve in Nigeria. And I was privileged to be supervised in that program by an emeritus professor for my master's. You understand? So those are intentionality. Those type of programs needed to be sustained in our system. You understand? Needed to be sustained in our system, so that we can then be able to constantly bring people who are for IR, even if Nigeria does not have enough, but I'm sure Nigeria has a lot, but you can always have connect with all our brains across the world. Nigeria is quite rich. So let's harness it and let's build a stronger nation. Let's be intentional. From this conference, as Dr. Shoma already said, please, let there be a white paper that says this to the VC, that says this, and then your institution can start the way you just started 10 years ago. Even our library is library 4.0. You don't need to go and meet a librarian to sign out a book for you. You understand? You get the book by yourself. There's already a machine. You go there, you put the book. It scans your student number, it scans your book, you go. Everything is just trying to move to enhance technology into our operations. So please, I want to just join my voice to the voice of other speakers. Please, let's be intentional about changing the landscape of uh, science and technology development in the country. Thank you.
Thank you very much. There's a question somebody asked and said, what is 4IR? 4IR is the fourth industrial revolution. So thank you very much for this good justice to it. So hand over the mic now. The conference manager. Please, can we give a round of applause for this? Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you for your patience. Thank you for your attentiveness. I really appreciate you all. Now we're about to break up into our various tracks. So I want to mention the tracks, what they are, and where we're having the tracks so that it can be guided. Okay, so the first one is Allied Health Sciences and Clinical Innovation. That's track one. And it's going to be in two breakout sessions. One will be at the BC former conference for one. Then for Group B, will be at the BC former conference for two. And the chair is Dr. Victor Abisi, while the co-chair is Dr. Anthony Okafor. That's for track one. Then for track two, you have mechatronics, robotics, and intelligent systems. That's just one track, and it's going to be held at the old IT. I want to believe you know that place. Then the chair is from Tina Praise, and the co-chair is Dr. Ojo. Okay, track three is Advanced Engineering Sciences and Mathematics. That would hold at the Therapy Quantum Lab. The chair is Dr. Titus Chidley. Then the co-chair is Dr. Ijoma Omsuru. Track four is Sustainable Technology and Green Health Systems. This would hold at Technology Lab. Then your chair is Professor Chika Webena. The co-chair is Dr. Obina Oteke. Then for track five, which is arts, creativity, and human-centered innovation, that would go here in this hall to vote here. Then the chair is Professor Joshua Kweke, and the co-chair is Okoro Osano. Okoro Osano. Thank you very much. Could we break out to our various tracks so that we can start immediately? We can start the paper presentations immediately. Thank you very, very much.
Other people are hosting